I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, July the 27th, brought to you in part by Vitalix. Vitalix has multiple options for controlling and repelling the fly population in your herd. Get the flies out of your business. Get the blue tub. Go to Vitalix.com. La Nina continues. La Nina, as you guys know, is the weather phenomenon when the Pacific Ocean has cooler surface temperatures and it just kind of jacks up all the weather patterns that come over the United States. But it's a weird weather pattern. It normally has things wet when they're basically dry, and then dry when they're wet. But we haven't really seen that this year. We've just seen basically dry everywhere. It is starting to change a little bit, but the experts are saying that they're expecting this to continue 60% or better chance of continuing until December, which does not sound good because most of us are not really tickled with the weather patterns that we've had so far this summer. But we've had severe drought in the southern plains, especially Texas. But moving on, New Mexico's had severe drought. It looks like a lot of storms are going over Arizona, but when I was out there last weekend, I talked to the guys and they said for sure southern Arizona is continuing in a 12-year drought there. They are seeing some rains in northern Arizona, but they said most of those storm systems are going right over them. But we are seeing dry weather in places that mean a lot to us as far as grain production, cattle production. Western Corn Belt is getting severely dry. Of course, Texas, Oklahoma is very dry. Arkansas, terribly dry. Southern Missouri is getting extremely dry and has been dry. I was there a couple of months ago and was traveling out of there, and I thought I was going to have a rowboat to get out of there. But it has not rained hardly at all since. And when you're in southern Missouri, you're a week away from a drought all the time, especially as you move over into the eastern parts, the central parts where it's really rocky. They have to have rain regularly to keep things going, and it is severely dry in that area. But now all of a sudden you go up just a little bit north and east from there, St. Louis is having terrible deadly floods. And we saw on Tuesday that St. Louis broke their all-time record one-day rainfall by almost 2 inches, like 8.5 inches in a day in St. Louis, and flash floods are drowning people, pulling them out of their flooded cars and things like that. And now that system is moving on to the mid-Atlantic, which is not really helping our corn belt at all. Maybe parts of the eastern corn belt. Of course, they've been in pretty good shape all summer long, but they're saying that we should be in a monsoon season in the southern plains. Well, I can't ever remember a monsoon season in the Texas Panhandle, but they're expecting us to get some rain. And yes, this weekend and early next week, we are expecting some really good chances of significant rain in Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma Panhandle, moving up into southwest Oklahoma and across from there. Hope we get it. But it's just these strange weather patterns are really jacking things up, and a lot of people are going on. And of course, the people that are talking about global warming, this is bolstering them, and they're getting very excited about it, which I don't know if I believe, and you guys probably too, in global warming. It seems a little bit arrogant for us to think that as small as we are, that we can affect the changes of this planet. But it does seem that we're starting to get warmer. But if you look back thousands of years, those things happen all the time. But basically, I'll kind of go along with them until they start talking about cow farts and burps, ruining the planet, and that's where I draw the line, because there was significantly more buffalo here, hundreds of years ago than there are cattle now. So I'm not sure if I really buy that. Plus, I see the clean air where cattle populate, and it looks very clean and fresh. And then I look at the big cities, and it's not that way. So, why they continue to blame that on cattle or even bring it up, I'm not sure. But let's talk about your board On Tuesday, August live cattle futures down 87 cents, which they were up just a smidge on Monday's session, but on Tuesday down 87 at 136.87. October was down 97 cents at 142.37. Your back months on live cattle were all down from 35 to 60 cents, but not terrible. August feeder cattle were down hard because grains were higher. Of course, they were a bunch more lower on Monday, and of course your feeder cattle went up, but some higher on your grains. So August feeder cattle were down 187 on Tuesday, ending the day at 177.42. September was down 2 1/4 at 180.42. Your back months on feeder cattle down 145 to down 202, so significant losses there. But you know, it's still trading at such a premium to what we're selling cash cattle for right now that really doesn't affect things that much. Your grain markets, corn, December new crop corn up 17 cents at 5.97. November beans up 37 3/4 cents at 13.83 3/4. Kansas City hard red winter wheat for September up 37 1/4 with winding down of harvest right here at 8.77 a bushel. Fat cattle trade kind of started trickling in on Tuesday, but we haven't seen any real significant trade to set the market. But Iowa had confirmed sales of 500 head at 145, which you know, that's what they were trading at late last week. We're not bad with that. Hopefully they'll hold the ground there and continue to trade at 145 for those high grading cattle, if not higher. Nebraska and Kansas had no confirmed sales all week so far, so at least through Tuesday there. But Texas, they got another feedlot to cave in early in the week in Texas, and there's no basis, actually about a $2 negative basis there, but 1,900 head traded in Texas, all at 135, and that'd be a buck lower to last week. Box beef cutout values were mixed. Choice cuts were up $1 at 269.11. Selects down $1.12 at 243.88. Slaughter running at a pretty good pace here, and we're seeing aggressive slaughter here as packers are making a little bit more margin than what they were here a month or two ago. But 249,000 up through Tuesday compared with 250,000 last week, so 1,000 less, but quite a bit better than 237,000 the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Pike Feeds serves all of Illinois and Missouri. It's a do-all meal. They do everything basically for cattle producers, including premixes, balancers, minerals, grain mixes, and supplements, including supplement options that have all natural options. So get a hold of Pike Feeds if you're in that area and you have some feed needs. Talk about our feeder cattle market, a real-time index on DV auction late in the day on Tuesday, sitting at 171.35, basically steady, but down 9 cents from the end of the day on Monday's trading on cash feeder cattle markets. But look at some of your bigger sales on Tuesdays. Ozarks Regional Stockyard, West Plains, Missouri, had a lighter run than typical, but about 2,000 head through the ring, another 200 head on their in-house video that they do with help from DV Auction. But yearling feeder cattle selling $4 to $6 higher, and calves $6 to $10 higher. Now, I've been talking about how your buyers have been very particular as to quality, not knocking Ozark Regional quality, but they are in south central Missouri. You throw a rock to Arkansas, they have a lot of mixed colored cattle there, a lot of continental breeding there and some cross, but you know, they wouldn't be the fanciest cattle that you would see in the Sand Hills or even up in northern Missouri, but still trading sharply higher on Tuesday. So, you know, that tells us that the market's better. Talk about some of our other sales all around the region. How about Denny Rezac Livestock Commission, St. Mary's, Kansas? Look at these loads of cattle and strings of cattle that they had at Rezac Livestock on Tuesday, including in there, as you see, 3 loads of 8-weight steers, bringing 179 and better, weighing into the 8 weights, guys. That's pretty impressive. How about 112 head, 953-pound steers in St. Mary's, Kansas at 170.75. Talked to my buddy Eric Dries out there in Idaho, and the sale where he's at there, Seven Rivers Livestock Commission at Emmett, Idaho. Now that's a pretty far away spot to be selling yearlings really high. It's quite a ways from a big feeding area, whether you go back west or whether you come down this direction towards your 5 area feeding region. But he had Cody and Heidi Justice steers in there, 97 head of them, come out of Baker City, Oregon, weighed 777 at 175.75, and I thought that was very impressive out of Idaho there. How about Unionville Livestock Market in north central Missouri? Kurt Sporleader told me about the really good sale that they had there, including the Rockin' R cattle out of Lucerne, Missouri right there. They background them cattle and they leave some meat on the bone. They typically top the sale. They know what they're doing there and do a really good job. But they had 4 loads in Unionville on Tuesday. Was 247 head of them. They averaged 881 pounds a load with a weighted average price of $179.50 on those 4 loads of steers there. How about Philip the Giant? Philip Livestock Auction in Philip, South Dakota. Sell 59 head of steers, weighed 894 at $185.50. Can't leave out Brad Hahn at Fredonia Livestock Auction in Fredonia, Kansas. Selling some lighter calves really well there. 55 head, 534 pound steers at $213.50. But your Zoetta Stickout Sale of the Day comes from central Missouri there. Lolly Brothers Livestock Market in Macon, Missouri, celebrating 75 years in business there. Very impressive there. And and they have all kinds of sales. They have really good cattle sales. They have horse sales. They have exotic animal sales there. Been in business for 75 years now, and they had a top quote. Your National Beef Wire top quote for the day was Greg Bruckmiller's heifers, 80 head of heifers, going to feed, guys, not replacements, but 80 head of heifers headed to Iowa, weighed 659 at $192. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.